Welcome back to the Titanium Hangar. This is Mike. Happy Friday, everybody. Hope everybody's doing well. I've had quite a crazy, wild week this week and kind of excited to get into the weekend and all the fun stuff we do. But today I want to talk to you about mini-bots. I'm going to title it something along the lines of No More Mini-bots, but there's not really that many mini-bots left. A few months back, I did make this video about mini-bot pricing and how it's gone to about $100 mini-bot, and most people are okay with it, some are not, and it was really good. Thanks for all the feedback in that, and sorry about the grainy picture here. Today I want to talk about what is left. There's not much really left that needs to be made mini-bot-wise, and technically anything that gets made is technically remade because we have all of this in one way, shape, or form. But I'm going to make a bold prediction. I believe that there's going to be some sort of mini-bot reveal from either Fans Toys or X-Transbots, but probably Fans Toys at TFCon. Now, I don't know 100% for sure, and it really doesn't matter if they do or not. We're going to still talk about what is left and what needs to get redone, but also the pluses and minuses. Why mini-bots are really good for Masterpiece scale for Fans Toys, X-Transbots, anyone that makes them, even Takara, and why we don't see more of them, why there's not more competition. Talk about this and more coming up. Really want to kick this off by looking at this. This is Transformers Land, which is a real quick, fast, easy way to get into knowing everything G1. Everything G1, what was made. They've done a really good job with the checklist. Pictures are, I think, 100% now on that. They're not 100% on some of the other toy lines that they cover, but they are on Transformers because they are Transformers Land. Now, I gotta say, looking at all this, we have almost all of this either made by Fans Toys, X-Transbots, or some company out there that's done it, but we have solid representations of all of these, except for a couple. Now, the Wind Charger, you see at the bottom, Wind Charger, that one needs one, and a better version. We'll talk about that. And then Bumblebee, we still, Takara's is okay. I'm good with it. But people want the Fans Toys one, but we haven't had the Fans Toys Bumblebee actually announced yet. And it seems like a no-brainer. It really does. Turn the parkour into a Bumblebee seems simple enough, but it still hasn't been announced yet. So with that, those are the two that I think need some sort of action, and yet we haven't heard anything about it. X-Transbot's Boost, or their Wind Charger, is really the best one on the scene. It is absolutely the best one that we have available right now, but at the same time, it's not very good. So it's not a good one. It's not great. And I've been a defender of this figure for a long time. I got mine used for like $50, so part of it is like I got a good deal on it. I didn't have to spend ridiculous money, and it fills a hole for a character I don't really care about. Now, it's funny because a lot of people do seem to care about this guy. And I kind of think it's not so much that they love the character, it's that they just want the best representation for their shelf, whatever characters they have, and the fact that he is one you need to have your Season 1, Season 2, or Season 3, depending on how deep you're going to go with it. But he's a character that's needed if you want to be a completist with that. In that fashion, you got to have him. And a lot of people are like, it doesn't live up to their expectations. Now, I would probably rate it a 70. I don't think it's the worst figure ever made in the entire world, and mine only has kind of like some floppy feet, so it stands okay, it does okay, but I will not ever transform it again. The alt mode is not bad. It's not a bad alt mode, and I would suggest that if you get a new one, if Fans Toys makes one that's better, or if Deformation Space comes out of left field with one, then I would suggest putting the X-Transbots one back into alt mode. But I don't think I'm going to mess with it. It still looks nice, though. But it'd be curious to see if Fans Toys transformation is any better, any smoother, or easier than the X-Transbots one. But again, I want to point out, Fans Toys has not said that they're making one, but I assume they will, and I'm surprised they haven't. Now, getting into Bumblebee, well, parkour is their cliff jumper. It looks good. It's a good-looking cliff jumper. It, in my opinion, is the best one that's out there. None of them are perfect, but this is the closest to perfection that we have gotten, and might be the closest we ever get, and I like it. It's great. I don't need another one. It actually looks fine next to the Takara Bumblebee, but to get an actual Bumblebee, it's going to take some part changes. Obviously, the feet, the hood, the rear spoiler, it's going to be more rounded in the chest area. All this stuff is going to be different than with the parkour. And we've seen it before. We've seen Fans Toys make two characters that were simply repaints in the past and have a vastly different engineering. Now, the argument does always pop up, do you want it to be real-world car or do you want it to be Toon? Fans Toys went with Toon with parkour. They're going to go with Toon when it comes to their Bumblebee, if and when they do it. There's a couple of problems with them doing Bumblebee. Now, the rumor on the street, out in these streets, the rumor is that there are a handful of characters that if they do those characters, Soundwave, Optimus Prime, Megatron, Bumblebee's one of those, and a handful of those characters, they will need to put it in another name so that it's not, they don't get in trouble with Hasbro, Takara, any of that kind of stuff. And that's kind of how they operate. That's their business model. With that, if they were to put out a Bumblebee and it's almost identical to this, but just recolored, and it's in a different name, it's not really going to protect them as much as you would think. So it would be vastly re-engineered, in my opinion, if they did a Bumblebee, but it would share a few things. Like, they learned some stuff from this. The Bumblebee, I think, would be even better than this. But how do I know that? So this is a great little picture. I just took a screen grab. You can see what pricing is on these. But with the Aussie and then the Diverge, those are repaints of Gears and Brawn. And when they did those, they're not just direct repaints. In fact, there's so many parts that are different. Although there are some similarities to the transformation, some similarities, some you could even probably identify a quarter of the parts that are reused. It's at least 60 or 70% new parts, which is vastly more impressive than I was expecting. I didn't expect it to get that much re-engineering. Usually you just see lazy repaints. And I'm a X-Transbots defender, but X-Transbots usually just repaints it, maybe changes one or two minor parts. But with this is a huge difference. And with that, it is more expensive. Each one of these is like its own little masterpiece work of art from good old Fans Toys. But when you look at this, though, they are so much different. I think they'll do the same thing with Bumblebee. It won't be as similar as we all think to the parkour. But now I want to really talk about how these Minibots seem to be the perfect figure. When you start thinking about it, it makes money for the company. So it's like they print money. $100 for a figure, a Minibot. There's a lot of things to consider when you think about these Minibots. There's the fact that the shipping's going to be the same per case for the most part. So if you have a bigger figure, the cost of shipping each unit, because there's only 6 in a case, or there's 9 in a case, or in the case of Minibots, I hear there are 24 Minibots per case, usually. That's significantly cheaper to ship those. And with that, that's a good thing. So the shipping cost is lower. The shipping to the individual from the distributor is lower. A lot of good things to it. But also, they seem to have a bit of a lower part count. Some of them are pretty complex, but still a lower part count. So cheaper overall for engineering, to design, shorter time frame from concept to delivery. So many things that make Minibots print money, highly profitable, and I'm shocked that there's not more of them. Well, there's only 2 really left to go. Now, I can't validate this, but I do believe Minibots get a larger production run than other ones because of the fact that they're a lower price point. They probably sell better than $250 figures. A $84 figure or a $100 figure probably sells better than a $250 figure. There's probably more of those sold. There's probably more people that are willing to buy 2 of the Minibots, 1 in each mode, than 2, say, Ultra Magnuses that are $300 and put 1 in each mode. And that's just the way I feel, what I think. So I'm thinking that we might generally see 4,000 to 5,000 produced for, say, a Blitzwing. You know, the Blitzwing that was promised 7 years ago. And these Minibots might see 6,000 or 7,000 produced. Now, I don't have those numbers, but it's a guess and a guesstimate, but it's an educated guesstimate. Now, you would think that even Takara, in their MPG, it would still fit in their model to make these mini-bots, as many as they could, to just juice consumers, customers, fans, for the fun little 120 or 160, however much they're charging these days. I think it's 120 for mini-bots from Takara nowadays. You'd think they'd be in on it more than they are. It prints money, and then Takara's in a situation where no matter what they do, they sell it all. And yeah, they may have to dump some that they feel are inferior on quote-unquote knockoff companies to sell them as knockoffs, even though they're the original thing. They do that sometimes. But for the most part, you very seldom see a Takara item go on sale. Most of them sell because they're the original, but I don't know, they're in a different weird place with MPG, but mini-bots still fit in very well. By the way, this may never see the light of day, the Takara Cliffjumper. Now I'm going to get into the negative side of the mini-bots. There's not a lot of repaint value to them, other than what was repainted in the past and what was redone in the past, and I don't see Fans Toys taking advantage of this, which they could with the parkour mold and doing the Bumble Jumper and all of those variants. They just don't seem to be interested in doing that stuff, which is odd. But then again, here's this Spindrift 1.0, which is a bit controversial because it's not a bad figure. It's just a bad sea spray. You can get one for 75 bucks at TF Source. Now I'm going to show this picture again because I want to show that the X-Trans bots, they're Ollie or Willie. Oh my gosh, I have called Willie Ollie so many times that I almost forgot his name was Willie. Anyhow, I think that's fine. I think it's great. I don't ever need another one. But a lot of people do still complain about this. They still want to see a new one. And I could see that. I could see Fans Toys doing one with diecast. And it's possible to one-up it. But it's really easy to one-up something, in my opinion, that's like 8 years old. So, yeah, Fans Toys, I'm surprised they haven't touched on a Wheelie yet. But then again, Wheelie is not a very popular character. Wheelie is not really very popular. And I should have talked about this when I was talking about Takara, but I find it really interesting that they're doing mini-bots in the Missing Link, but they're not doing these same mini-bots in the MPG line with Takara. I find it really odd. It's strange to me. Like, why are they doing the Missing Link version of mini-bots, but we're not seeing... I mean, we've already got the Bumblebee, but we don't have the Cliffjumper. It's strange. It's odd. To me, it's odd. I mean, they would make, I would think, more money from making the Masterpiece one. Then again, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this, because it's a lower price point, the way the economy's been for the last few years, maybe they're targeting a lower price point, simpler, more simplistic designs, cheap production, so that they can have a higher margin, even at a low price. The whole Missing Link line is pretty impressive. It's not Masterpiece, but it's something that I think Masterpiece collectors would collect on the side, like this RC. Both of these are up for pre-order at Shozy store. Remember, TH in the Support Your Reviewer helps the channel out. I pre-ordered both of these. I'll be reviewing both of these. I'm excited for both of these. Kind of want a second prototype one, though, because it's very impressive. But anyhow, this is the direction Takara's going. And what about Minibots? I'm really curious what we see out of TFCon. Will we get a Minibot in the third-party panel? Will there be an announcement at TFCon or at the next TFCon? But I'm curious about that. What do you guys think about all this Minibot stuff? Am I the only one that feels like every company's either gone radio silent on Minibots or just abandoned them entirely? Let me know in the comments below. Like and subscribe. Again, thanks to everybody that commented on that video 3 months ago about pricing on Minibots. Teddy Hanger out.